Everybody, Alex here from the Football Guys, here to talk about 3 players that you need to be buying low on in all of your fantasy football leagues. This is another one of our Football Guys short series where we talk about players that we like, don't like, players we want to target, stay away from, must starts, sits, everything in between. But today, like I said, we are talking about 3 buy low candidates in fantasy football. These are all players that haven't had the best start to the season, but I think there's a ton of reason for optimism to be getting them in your fantasy football leagues, whether it's via trade, waivers, or however you can possibly get your hands on these players. I think the person to start off with is Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon is the biggest buy low running back in all of fantasy football right now. He actually leads the NFL in touches and leads the NFL in carries both inside the 5 and inside the 10. And that's everything that you want from a fantasy football running back. Guys that are not only getting a lot of touches, but Joe Mixon is also pretty much leading the league in the high value touches, which are the carries inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. So I think that, his fantasy performances so far, he's outside the top 10 running backs, is not ideal. But when players are leading the NFL in touches and they're averaging well over 20 touches a game, those are the guys that you want on your fantasy football team, and that fits Joe Mixon. And beyond that, he's not just leading the NFL in touches, he's playing on one of the best offenses in the NFL, and the only problem people have that he hasn't scored more points is he has just 1 touchdown. He has all these touches, all these carries inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. He's 0 for 7 in carries inside the 5. He pretty much has just not scored touchdowns like we would expect, but he scored a lot of touchdowns last year. I would expect more touchdowns to come. I would buy low while he has only just 1 touchdown so far through 4 games. I am buying low on Joe Mixon all day. The next guy I want to talk about is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts should be on everybody's buy low list. I know it has been very, very tough to watch Kyle Pitts so far, but he's still the only tight end over the last 60 years with 1,000 receiving yards as a rookie. He's seeing a target on a higher rate of routes in his sophomore year. In the next couple weeks, the Falcons play the Buccaneers, the Bengals, and the 49ers coming up. Cordero Patterson is on IR, so he was their main threat in the run game. I don't think they have another threat. It's as good as Cordero Patterson, so they're expected to be in more trailing game scripts. Their one big player in the running game is going to be out for the next 4 weeks, and I know this team has been passing the ball at the 2nd lowest rate in the NFL, but it is bound to go up. Kyle Pitts does have a hamstring injury, and that is something to monitor, but ultimately, outside of Drake London, they have no other big threats in the passing game. Cordero Patterson's gone, and they don't have a big threat in the running game, and they're playing teams that are probably going to beat down on them and force them into trailing game scripts where they have to throw the ball. I think Kyle Pitts is a perfect buy low candidate, and if you didn't, believe in him, he's still 4th among all tight ends in target share. He's still commanding targets at a high rate. I am trying to get Kyle Pitts in every league that I possibly can. And the last guy that I want to be targeting is George Pickens. And he's probably the guy that you can still get on your waiver wires in a lot of league. But the biggest thing I love about George Pickens is every week so far through 4 weeks, he's increased his fantasy points. He's increased his receiving yards every week. And in that short half with Kenny Pickett in the game last Sunday, he had a 38% target share with Kenny Pickett so far. They clearly have a connection. Both of them are rookies. And I think that George Pickens has a real chance to potentially be the number 1 or number 2 target with Kenny Pickett if that target share anyway holds up. But ultimately, Pickens, Mixon, and Pitts are all guys I'm buying low on. I'm trying to get whether via trade or waivers or however you can get your hands on them. But that, once again, is one of these shorts from the Football Guys. So make sure to subscribe, turn those bell notifications on, and tune in for great Football Guys content coming out each and every single day.